What's going on, everyone? James here, Wolf Camp Reviews. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time, welcome. Today I have another pop-up fire pit video for you. I showed you the Trailblazer the last time. This time I have the larger size. This is the Fireside Outdoor pop-up fire pit. Let's check it out. Alright, so if you've seen my other video on the Trailblazer, this is going to be very identical. It's going to come with the same bag, pretty much the same stuff. It's just going to be larger. It's not going to come with the cooking grate. It's going to be an added accessory for the larger kit here if you wanted to get it. They actually have two different sizes. You can get a tri-fold or quad-fold, I believe. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with. I am going to get one. One leaves a little bit of space for you, so that way you can kind of add wood if you need to. The other one takes up a lot of space as far as it gives you a bigger cooking area, but it takes up a lot of space to where if you needed to add some pieces of wood, you're going to have to kind of move some stuff around and figure out how to add, some wood underneath your grate there to stoke your fire. But enough about that. Let's dig into the bag. Alright, so opening up the bag, there's only going to be a few items in this one. This one's going to be a bit dirtier because, like I said, I have used this before, but I'm just going to throw that out of the way here. I'm also going to get this out of the way. This is going to be an extra screen. I was able to add this for $10 when I purchased my fire pit. They do have a warranty on these, so if something does happen to them, you can send it back and they'll send you another one. However, I don't want something to happen to this one and then I'm out of a fire pit if I needed it for something. I have an extra screen here and it only cost me 10 bucks. So, not really digging into the bank there to get this extra screen. I think it's pretty worth it, and I'm just going to keep it with me in case I need it. Alright, so when I did use my fire pit, I did not use my heat shield. Now, in my Trailblazer, I didn't really go into a lot of detail about that. Depending on what you're using your fire pit on, you don't have to put your heat shield up. If you're going to be making a fire on like a deck or something, the bed of a truck, if you have the smaller Trailblazer, or an area that can get damaged by a fire, then yes, you need to put your heat shield on. But if you're making a fire on like a riverbed where it's just sand, or you have a rocky area where it's just dirt and you don't have to worry about anything igniting or burning up underneath, then you don't need it. And I really like that about this, because on the Solo Stove and a couple other companies that make fire pits, there's really no way to warm your wood up or warm your feet up. You get the one unit and the heat comes out the top and that's it. With this, if you're not using your heat shield, you can put your feet under the fire pit and get them close, and it's very nice to warm your feet up, which is awesome. So there's a couple of ways you can use this. I'm not going to set this up in the video. I've showed it in my Trailblazer video. It's going to be the same thing. I will show you where to set it up, because I actually have a little bit of notches on here, or a little bit of buttons to where they recommend you setting it up. But you could even just lay it out on the floor. If you didn't want to have to set it up and put it on the stand, you could just lay it out on the floor and protect whatever you're protecting, and then still get the extra heat coming out the bottom. If you want to put some sticks or some pieces of wood there to dry them out, you definitely could do that. Another thing I will say about this is it will catch a few ashes and stuff like that underneath it. So if you're worried about something like that, then again, put the heat shield out. Alright, so it's going to be pretty much the same exact setup as I said as the Trailblazer. You're going to get your Velcro straps. You're going to get your corner pieces, your stand, and your mesh. And as you can see, this is a lot bigger than the Trailblazer. Now, maybe I'll get my Trailblazer and you guys can see a little size comparison, because that's probably something I would want to see prior to buying this, and there weren't really many videos about that. So I will go get that after I get this all set up and squared away. You get your four sides. Upon receiving this, one of my sides, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, I'm not zoomed in. One of the sides was damaged, has a little bend to it. I didn't really want to mess with it. I contacted Fireside. They said, hey, we're going to send you another one. No worries. Never said if I had to send this one back or not. If I don't, I'm going to try to mess with it and straighten it out. It's no big deal, but buying a new fire pit, I really want it to be, nice and straight. So hopefully you guys can see this pretty good. You're just going to pop out your fire pit. Get this out of here for a minute. The legs just pop out, nice and simple. Sits nice and low to the ground. It's not too bad. Another vehicle coming by. I did mention in my Trailblazer video, when you're putting these on, they recommend putting opposites on first and then doing the other two instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, or vice versa or whatever. And the reason they recommend that is because when everything's all said and done, you're going to have 2 plates here on the bottom that you're going to be able to lift up, or you're going to have 2 plates on the top that you can actually pull up at the same time, and it'll lift your mesh up for you and make it a little bit easier for you to tear down. So once you get your plates on, which if you didn't see, there's 2 holes in the bottom, and it just sits over the little rod piece there. You're going to get your mesh, and on your mesh you can see there's folded pieces here. That's going to be your bottom. Just throw it on the 2 corners there. Leave it a little bit closer to the top for newer fire pits. Otherwise, as mine just dropped down, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to stretch this mesh out and get it on the knobs here. So just leave them towards the top until your mesh breaks in, and it will wear in a little bit. And that way you can just pop it over these 2 nubs here. Once you do, just push it down, and that's going to be your fire pit. Nice and simple. The mesh is really nice because, and I'll tell you this, it's wide open on the bottom. So, you know, you have a fire pit on the ground, you make it out of rocks or bricks or whatever it is you make it out of. Can't get any airflow from the bottom, so you're getting airflow from the sides and from the top, right? This, it's wide open on the bottom, and it's a mesh. So you're constantly sucking air up in here, and it's giving you a nice hot burn. You know, it's going to make it less smoky, and I've actually experienced that, and it's awesome because it's shooting everything straight up. It's not really coming off on the side. Obviously, if you have a really big wind, you know, you're going to get some smoke in your face. But the fires that I've had in this were a lot less smoky than they were in my fire pit I have behind the camera here that's sitting on the ground, and you know, it's not starving for air, but it's harder to get an airflow through it. So this definitely helps, and it is really, really nice. Again, you do not have to put your You don't have to put your heat shield on if you do not want to, but if you did want to, we'll show you. They have little nubs right here. I don't know if you could see that on the camera. Hopefully you can. There's 4 of them. You're going to wrap your straps around the top of that, so that way it holds it in place and the straps don't drop down. So it's nice. You have 1 there, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Now, this is the whole fire pit kit that comes in the bag. Again, you can get a cooking kit to add on top of this, and it pretty much extends on top of these 4 nubs here. It's going to sit on top of the nubs and give you a little bit of elevation, and then it's going to give you the grate. It's pretty much just going to be another 4 sides kind of like this, and the grate's going to pop in really nice, but I don't have it yet. I will do a review on it once I get it and start using it. But this thing has been phenomenal, and it compacts down really small in that bag. It's been sitting in my truck actually since I got it. I've used it several times. Quick and simple to set up, and what did it take me? Explaining this to you guys, setting this up, maybe 5 minutes, if that. And that's because I'm going in detail on how to set it up. If I was just to do it, maybe a minute, and good to go, light a fire. I did mention this in my Trailblazer video. I've seen some reviews of people taking wood and kind of stacking it across these braces here. Now these are not the thickest pieces of aluminum, they're a little thin, and I could see a heavy piece of wood kind of pushing on it and wearing it out. If you really needed to dry your wood off and you were in an area where you don't have to have your heat shield on, just throw it underneath. It's definitely going to be more than hot enough to dry it off. And you should be good to go that way. If you do have your heat shield on, I mean, you're kind of got to figure it out on your own there, but I wouldn't recommend sitting wood on top of this. I didn't do it personally because I don't want to damage anything, but to each his own, and you know, do what you got to do to get your fire going, dry your wood off, and have a good time. Pretty much that's what it's all about, right? You got to enjoy everything. as much as we can. Everybody takes things a little too much for granted, and sitting by fires, nothing more relaxing than sitting by a fire, enjoying the water, and having a good time, right? There's something else I wanted to mention to you guys actually about the fire mesh. Now, they recommend not using any lighter fluid to start this, no igniter to start this. You can use paper, you can use some fire starters, but I will say watch out for what fire starters you use. There are some fire starters that have some lighter fluid infused into it to help it ignite. Don't use those. I'm sure you've seen those tumbleweeds. A lot of people use them for barbecues. Those would be great. They're just kind of a wax material over it. There's no igniter in there. And I do want to let you guys know too, I have a friend who recommended this to me. This is where I found all this stuff out, the fire pit and all that other stuff. He got those little packs of the color flames for his kids, and he told me that he used it twice actually, not knowing that that's what caused an issue, but I guess there's some kind of igniter in there or some kind of thing in there, some chemical that kind of burned through the mesh on here and put a hole in it. And he contacted Fireside, said, hey, no problem, they'll send him another one out. He actually got 2 replacements. He did it with the second one, again, not knowing it was the color flames until the second one. And he figured it out, so I'm going to give that warning out to you guys. If you have those little color flame things to make your flames different colors for your kids, don't use it in here. Save it for a ground fire pit or something like that. You don't want to ruin this mesh and not be able to make a fire. Again, this is going to be another view here for you guys so you can see. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right. I'm working on getting a mic for you guys because some of these shots filming and with the wind and background noise and everything's a little crazy. But let me go get my Trailblazer and set them up side by side so you guys can actually see what that looks like. Alright, so I have my Trailblazer here, which is their smaller fire pit, and I have their larger fire pit here for you guys to check out. Just going to kind of give you a little aspect here, just so you guys can see it. If you guys were not sure which one you wanted to get, I personally just got them both. They actually had a sale running when I purchased these. Forget, you can find the discount code out there somewhere. If you're, an avid hiker or fisherman and go to a lot of creeks and streams, and you go quadding or go to the field for the day and hang out, something small like this is definitely really nice. As you can see, super lightweight, super compact, and it's perfect. And if you haven't seen my other video, the Trailblazer comes with the cooking grate. It's a tri-fold grate. Comes in the bag, and it just pops right in the top like that. There's little holes here that it just pops in, and you get a nice little cooking grate here. So if you didn't want to bring a whole cooking set and deal with that on a hiking trip or going out for the day to the beach or something like that, you can just bring this, get a fire going, and cook right on top of this, which is great. I think this will hold up pretty nice to a pot. Obviously, you're not cooking for 4 people or 3, something like that with this. But it's definitely something that's doable, for a smaller pot. I wouldn't put a lot of weight on this thing. Has a little bit of flex in the middle, but it's definitely going to do what you need it to do. If you're out by yourself or with somebody else. Again, here's another view if you wanted to check it out. I'm pretty sure this is a 12 by 12, 12 down, 12 across, and I'm pretty sure this is 24 by 24. Could be wrong on that, but that's what it looks like to me anyway. It's definitely a big difference between the two, and I'm glad I got the small one. This is going to be riding shotgun with me everywhere I go, pretty much, my quad, and nice little fishing trips for the day. This is a little too big for me. If I were to go trout fishing for the day and I wanted to post up and have a fire next to the creek, this is definitely something I would bring and do that with. I wouldn't do that with this. This is more of like a camping situation, or if you have several people you're going to be making a fire for, you can get a nice big fire out of this. And you know what, I'm going to grab a piece of wood so you guys can see what the piece of wood looks like inside the fire pits here. Obviously you have to cut it down to size for this one, but let me get a piece of wood for you so you can reference. Another quick thing I wanted to mention with this before I wrap up this video here is this thing cools down really quick. you can have a huge blazing fire in this thing. Once the fire's out, maybe 15 minutes, and you could touch it. You know, you could put it away, pack it up. You don't have to sit there and wait and wait and wait and wait for this thing to cool down. This thing has a lot of airflow on the bottom, and it really just cools down super quick. You can dump the ashes out, what's left over of it, and again, 15 minutes and you're putting this thing away. You know, you can touch it, you can move it, you can put it you know, wherever you want it to, or pack it up and put it back in its case. Just wanted to mention that is another reason why I went with this over like the solo stove. I've heard people waiting around for over an hour to put that thing away because it just gets so hot and it holds heat, which is a nice feature if you wanted it to do something like that. But with me, once my fire's out, I want to put this thing away. I want to pack it up. I want to move it. You know, I'm done. I don't want to have to worry about it. And with this cooling down in 15 minutes, you know, your fire's burning out, you clean up camp and come back to this thing and put this away and you're good to go. But yeah, so that's something I did want to mention real quick. Alright, so I got a piece of pine here. This is obviously a little bit too big to fit in the Trailblazer. You definitely have to get smaller pieces of wood for that, so just keep that in mind if you do end up going with this one. A regular sized piece of wood isn't really going to help you out much, but in the larger fire pit, obviously you can see this fits very nicely, and if I bring it all the way over to the corner, there's plenty of room to spare if you did get a larger piece, so you don't have to really worry about that too much in this. You don't really have to worry about cutting it down to size, where this one, obviously I'd have to cut this in half and probably make it a little bit smaller just to make it burn better. Alright, that's going to wrap this video up, guys. This is going to be the Trailblazer, or Fireside Trailblazer, and this is going to be the Fireside pop-up fire pit. I don't know if this has a name, but if you guys like the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be trying to push out some videos a little bit more frequently than I have. If you guys want to head over to my TikTok channel and check that out, I have a bunch of videos on there. Obviously they're smaller videos, shorter videos, but if you do find something on there that you wanted to see a more in-depth review of, or if you wanted me to do a longer cooking video, more in-depth detailed cooking video for you, which I have a bunch on there, you know, just drop a comment in this video here and I'll definitely get something going for you guys. If you guys have any recommendations on gear or anything like that you want me to check out, definitely, again, leave a comment down below and I will check it out. See you guys next time.